Have you ever been in a discussion where, even after expressing everything you needed to, you walked away feeling defeated? Have you felt that knot in your throat, as if every word you spoke pushed you further away from your own strength? Maybe you find yourself surrounded by loud people who interrupt, mock, and dominate conversations with arrogance disguised as confidence. And deep down, you believed staying silent was a sign of weakness, that not defending yourself was surrendering, that not reacting meant losing. But what if I told you that all of this is an illusion? True power has never been in words, but in their absence. Nietzsche, one of the most misunderstood thinkers in history, saw something few have the courage to admit. Those who talk too much reveal too much. Those who need to convince are already at a disadvantage. The world teaches us that we must fight, explain ourselves, and defend our ideas, as if every conversation were a battle for truth. But nature proposes something different, an infinitely more intelligent path. He believed silence is not just the absence of sound, but an overwhelming presence. Silence destabilizes, it forces the other to confront themselves. This video is for you, who constantly feels ignored, overshadowed, or invalidated. For you, who leaves conversations with the feeling that no one really heard what you meant to say. For you, who is tired of being the easy target, the nice one, the one who tries to keep the peace while others take advantage of your calm. Perhaps you've confused silence with submission, but today, I'll show you that silence can be your most powerful weapon, and that true victory comes not from winning an argument, but from never needing to enter one. Let's dive into nature's wisdom and discover how to master any situation without uttering a single word. Why do we feel such a need to respond, to rebut, to correct, to prove we are right? Because deep down, we've been conditioned to believe that truth must be defended at all costs. If we remain silent, we are letting others win. But nature saw this as a symptom of our deepest weakness, the fragile ego. The ego cannot stand being questioned. It confuses disagreement with attack and turns any conversation into a battlefield. Nietzsche said that most people don't seek truth in arguments. They seek power. They seek to reaffirm their beliefs not because they are solid, but because, if shaken, everything crumbles. When you justify yourself, when you feel compelled to prove your point, you've already entered their game and lost. Just the need to justify your position shows you are still trapped in the desire for acceptance, validation, and understanding. Nature called this herd morality, the behavior of those living under the expectations of others, wanting to be seen as good, correct, and just. This quest for approval keeps you weak. True strength, according to nature, lies not in convincing others, but in not needing to do so. It's about holding your vision, even in the face of laughter, criticism, or rejection. It's about being misunderstood and remaining unshaken. The power nature speaks of is internal mastery, a power that comes from the ability to remain calm when everyone else around you is losing control. True victory lies in not reacting. The game of discussion is a theater, and the first to act has already lost. Nietzsche understood that the reactive mind is a subjugated mind, while the observing mind is the dangerous one. This is the mind that does not need to prove anything. But if we shouldn't react, how can we exert power over others? How do we make others feel our strength without speaking? Nature's answer lies in the ideal of the Ubermensch, the being who transcends the limitations of common morality and dominates the world through absolute self-control. The Ubermensch understands that silence is not the absence of words, but an imposition of presence. His silence commands respect. It is a weapon, a form of dominance that destabilizes others. Are you ready to explore this level of mastery? Silence can become your most powerful weapon, not as a defensive shield, but as a blade that cuts through others' facades. Silence is a language that doesn't try to convince. It imposes authority. The moment you master silence, you become unpredictable, and unpredictability is feared. Silence isn't absence, it's pure dominance. True silence is not passivity. It's active, charged with intention. When you master silence, you choose your words carefully. You observe, you understand, and you speak only when it will have the most profound impact. Silence is not a retreat. It is a strategic advantage. You don't need to win arguments. The moment you stop reacting, you gain control over the conversation. Silence forces others to confront their own insecurities, to question their beliefs. It's a tool to regain control, a way to stop being manipulated by guilt, fear, and the need for approval. Silence is a form of self-mastery that makes you untouchable. When you stop reacting and stop speaking just for the sake of speaking, you tap into a deeper level of control, one that goes beyond words and into the very essence of who you are. Your silence will speak for you, and when it does, it will be far more powerful than any argument or justification. People who engage in endless verbal sparring are often the most insecure, and their desperation to be right reveals their weaknesses. By embracing silence, you become someone who doesn't need to prove anything, because your presence already conveys everything. The question is, can you resist the urge to react? Can you embrace the discomfort of silence and let it reshape your reality? It's not easy. Silence is not a passive state. It's active, it's filled with energy, and it takes immense strength to remain quiet when every part of you wants to respond. But when you master silence, you control your environment. You shift the dynamics of any conversation or situation by not engaging in the traditional back and forth that most people rely on. Nietzsche's Ubermensch embodies this perfect mastery of silence and self-control. The Ubermensch doesn't need to win every debate or argument. He simply stands firm in his truth and allows others to play their games while he remains untouched. The Ubermensch is never desperate to be validated by others. Instead, his silence is an impenetrable fortress, one that commands respect and instills fear in those around him. His presence disrupts the flow of any conversation, forcing others to confront their own insecurities and weaknesses. But there's more. Nietzsche didn't just view silence as a form of self-control. It's also a way to control others. When you refuse to react, you don't give your energy away. You maintain your power while others drain theirs, desperately trying to engage you. You deny them the reaction they crave, and that destabilizes them. Silence forces others to reveal their true intentions, their flaws, and their weaknesses. When you don't react, you expose them, and that is a form of dominance. In this way, silence is an incredibly strategic weapon. You wield it not just to avoid conflict, but to change the dynamics of any situation. Your silence becomes your authority, your power, and your strength. When you don't speak, you create an impenetrable wall, one that others cannot cross, because they will never know what you're thinking or where you stand. And this is where it gets even more powerful. When you have mastered the art of silence, you have transcended the need to engage in petty disputes, to win over others, or to be understood. You've transcended the expectations of society, the need for validation, and the urge to conform. You've become untouchable, and that is true power. But be warned, silence requires absolute mastery of yourself. It's not easy to resist the urge to react when you've been conditioned your entire life to speak up, to defend yourself, to prove you're right. But once you've mastered it, silence will become your most powerful tool. This is the path to true self-mastery, and it will change everything for you.